2, 1. Dun, dun, dun. Ta-da! We're here.
Hi,
Hi,
Brian.
Ann. How are you?
Good afternoon to me.
Oh my God, Ann, we had a giant party at our house last night. Well, not giant. We had a bunch of kids over here. One of them is like falls asleep at like 10 p.m.
Not your
And then, no, not my kid. The other like 6 of them are up until 3 a.m. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, you guys gotta go to fucking sleep. I gotta wake up in 2 hours to meet up with my friend Andrea. Then finally at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, they go to sleep, and I go to sleep, and then one of them comes. Then the one that went to sleep at 10 comes downstairs and it's like, oh, I gotta get back home right now. And I'm like, oh shit,
no.
I'm not. So I had to take him home, and like I'm like, when it's one of those nights where you're at the, it's like, I can't go to sleep now because if I do, I'll miss the plane. I just gotta like power through. It's
play through. Yep.
So that's where I am right now.
Well, it's the afternoon over here. It's Saturday. I've been grading and slow moving and fighting a little something.
Right on. It's been a couple weeks since I saw you last. We had like you went away for a little. You went to camp. How was camp? You want to talk about camp or not really?
Sure. I went to witch camp.
Nice.
With there were a total of 13 awesome women, and
Whoa.
We went to New Mexico and did secret things that I won't be talking about.
Whoa. Okay. Interesting. Sounds like fun.
It was really fun. It was very nourishing. I came back feeling really soft and gentle with myself. And hopefully that translates to others because,
Okay.
Well,
I could use some soft and gentleness for sure.
I haven't compromised my wicked humor by any means,
Okay.
Little wicked bitch.
Well, I had a rough couple days, sort of. So I could use some. I just use a little Andrea. That's all. I don't care if it's the snarky kind, if it's the New Yorker, if it's the witchy one. I don't mind.
Portal. Open up your heart portal. Your third.
Thank you. Ooh, I can feel it. I can feel it. Yeah. Okay.
Out there watching after the fact, rewind 20 seconds, open up that heart portal, and I'm sending that to not just Brian, but all of you.
You could probably get paid for that. That's probably like that's a thing that you could do. You put that out there. Free portal spells.
Funny, I have Venmo, but I am not setting up another LLC to do this properly.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think it's a good.
I love that.
Not but anyway. Well, cool. I had like was it music? Okay, so Phish tour ended, right? You watched some shows, you listened to some shows.
I was at witch camp over the Hampton run, but the last night of Hampton, which was the sort of culminating evening of ritual, we did a sound bath, and we had somebody come in with all of this like resonant percussive stuff and bowls and gongs. We covered up our eyes as the sky was, turning to the night. And
you fucking hippies.
Witches are hippies too. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. I'm listening.
And, I was like in this portal. It was really funny because my mind was very chatty, and I was having a big conversation with the band and wondering what they were up to, and sort of, like sending my spirit that away. And then it got so chatty, I had to call in Joe. I needed the reserves. I'm like, Joe, I'm going to have you take over this conversation for me. I got to shut this down, this like kind of cosmic conversation, because
that's interesting.
And so that was nice. And then when I looked back at the set list, there's that like 40.
Joe, who's no longer with us. Joe, who's in the speaking, right? Do I have this right? Speaking from the spirit world to Andrea, giving her permission to. Or
Joe is like my spiritual like shepherd. I can send him to, very smart. I feel like I can send him on missions and he comes back, and yeah, so it's esoteric for sure. But It was very sweet. And then when I looked at the set list, I was like, oh, that 40 minutes of music in the second set. And I listened to it after the fact. Really fucking cosmic. I think that's what must have been going on when I was having my conversation. And then
you were like out there on the airwaves.
yeah.
Oh, cool. I did, I'm not really, I don't know where I land on any of that stuff, but like I heard Paul McCartney say that like when I think it was Paul McCartney. He's talking about like getting with his wife, whoever he married after Linda.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was it. It might, maybe it was like he was talking to John or something in his, memory, but I think he was talking to Linda and was like, I don't know if I'm ready to see this person, but if it's okay with you, I'm gonna go for it, right? And he said that he felt the permission from her, and then he says like quite candidly on Letterman or Stern or whatever he's on, he's like, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it was me or if it was whatever, but it was just something about, whether it was like inside me or if it was beyond me, it didn't really matter. It was just the fact that like I could feel it, and that was what mattered. It was just really quite cool.
I think that very much resonates with, for me, both the listening experience when I am, sort of tuning in with my ears for the stream, or if I'm at the show, I'm always having this like kind of cosmic narration going on. I find it really fulfilling and productive and nourishing, and sometimes it's questionable, but it's not really worth too much time questioning, because I feel that it is, that it's good and productive. So
do you think you always had that, or do you think that has come lately, or do you have any better grasp on it now that you're a little bit older than when you were younger, or what do you think?
it started in 3.0. It started at Red Rocks 09, and it has persisted all of 3 and 4.0. So I don't know. I think it's just about maybe like a bit of appreciation, having stepped away from Phish and then back to them. There's something, I mean, you listen and you're having your own wonderful experience most of the time as your heart travels through the music. And so it doesn't matter if it's real to anybody else but me, because it is mine. That's maybe like something in the beauty of music.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone as far as you can go, like looking over that edge, and then like I was like, let's go a little bit further, and it's like but it is it can be both a comforting kind of thing to experience, and also it's like looking that far, or like being that far inside yourself. I don't exactly know how to articulate it, but like when this thoughts start, when everything starts to coalesce, and the music and the vibe and the energy of the space, and you're like, oh my God, is this what was something or what's, it just like feels like something beyond you, it can be bewildering slightly, I
Well,
feel like I can experience that, like just, that guy who's crying on the YouTubes that you sometimes mention, the guy who listens to Phish.
When he's having his like
Catharsis.
yeah.
Yeah, it's intense.
I feel like as humans, it is good for us to have series of cathartic experiences. And if we can draw a little circle around it and say, this is special, this is sacred, this is significant, this is, something I want to face. I think that we don't have sort of modern rituals for healing, it feels more. And so these are, rock and roll is a modern ritual, for me certainly, but I think for like a lot of people.
Ritual is a bit, I mean, actual like fire dancing, like chanting and ring belling and prayer wheel spinning. That's a very Asia thing. It's all over the place. I experience it like on almost a daily basis. It's everywhere
It
here.
not exist in the US.
Yeah, I should appreciate it more.
It's less in the cultural milieu because the world's crazy over here. But speaking of realms of experience, shall I create a bridge for us?
Please do. Please do.
you, viewer, maybe one, maybe none, maybe 5, maybe 81,
Sure.
have stumbled across the Icculus podcast. And I'm Andrea. This is Brian. I'm in Boulder, Colorado. Brian is in Tokyo, Japan. And
Konnichiwa. Kayute. The fish fan and the rabid fish fan in me recognizes and salutes the rabid fish fan in you, Kayute.
Kayute. This is a modern ritual.
It's true. I love it.
We like to read things to you, and sometimes we have guests on to talk about sort of social and historical worlds adjacent to Phish. And we're going to do that today. It's really exciting. You want to talk about it a little?
Well, so yeah, there are some movers and shakers from my old world and Andrea's still world in Boulder, Colorado. And like both of us kind of tripped our way almost into this interesting world of musicians. And there were a couple of big shot people, at least to us, and they eventually became friends as we became part of the wallpaper of this musical scene going on in Boulder. And one of these individuals is a really, really cool cat who's kind of like a big get for us today. And he's our friend, but he's also our hero. And his name is Jamie Janover. And one of the reasons that we adore him for so many reasons, but one of the reasons is because it's like, oh, he played with Phish once. That's the guy, right? He played with them. He knows them. It's like, and there's his musical roots go back to Phish, and it's really fun to have a chance to riff on him and talk about him and talk to him on this particular episode. So we're going to invite him up a little bit later as a special guest, and that's going to be really, really exciting. I don't know what I'm going to ask him. I don't want to talk to him. I'm just going to let the conversation flow. So you guys are still, I think, more. I connect with Jamie every couple of years, and he comes to Japan actually. But I'm going to lean on you to because you guys have actually worked together.
Jamie hired me and a gang of my witchy friends under the name Twisted Sister, which became
Twisted Sister?
Twisted Sisters.
Twisted Sisters, got it.
Being sued today by D. Schneider and Company. But it changed to Twisted Sisters and Misters because we are inclusive. And honestly, figure out a way to have a non-binary nod in there too. But currently I made an LLC based on it, Twisted Sisters Misters, and we were hospitality gang. And Jamie invited me and my friends to come cook and I don't know, feed, nourish, get drunk, plan shenanigans. We did so many shenanigans. So Jamie had a festival called Sonic Bloom. We'll find out if it'll ever happen again. And I traipsed around after that festival, all sorts of different places for probably a better half of a decade, more, maybe even a decade. I have to really think through it, but we have pulled some funnies. We threw Sonic Bloom a bar mitzvah one year and put Jamie there, and his dad was really proud. I think his mom said.
Oh my gosh, really?
His dad might have passed, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Whatever he thought of our world at Sonic Bloom. But yes, he's not just a musician. He's also, produces experiences and interactive art and catharsis. And I think it was really instrumental in the electronica scene in Colorado. And
yeah, Jamie really stands alone. He was a Boulder institution. I guess he's not based in Boulder anymore, but he's known as an individual amongst all of these bands. He's been a part of so many things, and it's I kind of want to say that it's his instrument that sort of sets him apart from everything else. But that's really to sell him short, because like you just said, he's a producer, he's he's a conductor, he's a engineer, he's a mathematician, he's a, you know, sorry,
shaper, yeah, like photography.
yeah. So we're going to get him on in a little bit, and but we did find something to read, because Ridiculous is about reading something, and I found a really great interview with him, and it's quite dated, but I really loved it. And I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing, but I want to blast through it before he gets on, and if he can get on in the middle of while we're reading it, maybe he can read. But it's an interview, and it's not really literary in the sort of like review type things that we've been reading and the sort of analysis. It's an interview, so it reads a little. You know, it's not really meant, it's a conversation, but it's still really fun. And there's a couple of little funny things, and Jamie will be like, I imagine there's a couple of like eye-rolling cringe moments, because it's got, you know, it was from maybe 2007, but there's a bunch of really great nuggets in there, and I don't know if we'll get through them all, but let's get into this, because I want to get him on and I want to talk to him, and this is long, and can we take a stab at this?
Let's do it, Bray.
Okay. I'm just gonna. I don't really want to steal his thunder, but I'm from his page. Let me drop Jamie's. Let me drop his homepage. Jamie Janover, dudes. You guys are so lucky. You get to learn about Jamie Janover. There's his website, and here's his Insta. I don't know really how active he is on social, but like he goes back. He's got all chapters and chapters of creativity. And so if these aren't his latest things, but anyway, this is from his website. On his about page, it says Jamie Janover is recognized as a true innovator. I'm just going to read this verbatim. His considerable creative output includes being a master of ancient percussion string, of the ancient percussion string instrument called the hammered dulcimer. And Ann and I grew up in Boulder, Pearl Street Mall, seeing this guy out there busking every day with his hammer dulcimer, and we didn't know probably at the time that he had this entire world of people behind him, that his music, it was so much more than just busking on the Pearl Street Mall. And he also invented and he's responsible for inventing and performing on an instrument he calls the mini kit, which is a miniature amplified drum kit. He plays pyrocussion, which he'll get into later, and creating the Realmsmobile, which is just going to blow your mind. A recumbent, well, I'll leave it for him to explain. Combining the innovation of modern technology with wisdom of ancient instruments, Janover is making music that has never been possible until very recently, achieving a creative balance between the acoustic and the electronic to create a unified field. Music reflective of the polarized nature of modern times. So we can talk about his collaborators a little bit later. He's also part of his interest in music intersects with his interest in science and math and metaphysics and geometry, I want to say. And he's also part of the Nassim, how do I say his name, Andrea? Nassim Haramein's unified field theory, the resonance project. And he was one of the original dudes who's talking about basically unified field theory, and he's gone around the world and he's learned about all this stuff. And I'll let him talk about it later. But I'm very curious about it. I don't know how deep we can get into it. It's this entire universe of knowledge and thought, so we can maybe get into it. But the article that we're going to read right now is it was on Jam Bands from 2007. I'm going to drop the link in here. And why don't you take the first paragraph here?
All right. September 23rd, 2007. Jamie Janover, Rebel Without a Repertoire, or How to Make Your Bed and Lie in It at the Same Time by Jared Hecht. Jamie Janover is a man who knows. What does he know? Well, if you talk to him, he convincingly sounds like he knows just about everything. And the fact of the matter is that it truly seems like he does. He understands the progression of music. He has a grasp on tradition, evolution, and all things relevant to the world of sound. From Burning Man to Trey Anastasio to Americana and Bluegrass to electronica and Ableton Live, Jamie Janover is a veteran in all regards. He delves into his baby festival, Sonic Bloom. Oh my God, 07 forever. That could have been my first year.
Okay.
Life with Zilla. The inevitable driving forces of the breakup, ? Of the string cheese incident. Spoiler alert, they didn't break up. Icons of music past and pioneers of the future of music. Additionally, Jamie notes the geographical discrepancies in this country and how manifest destiny still plays a role in the music we hear today. Our author says to Jamie, and Brian, you'll play the part of Jamie Janover.
Let's take turn. You read a question, and I'll read an answer, and then the next question, and then you read the answer and the next question. We'll flip it. Let's do it that. Or do you want me to read? I can read all. I'll read all the answers. If you're not, you mentioned you were kind of coming down with something. I'm happy to read whatever you want.
I get it. I like what you said.
Okay.
Author, you just helped to organize the festival Sonic Bloom. How did it go?
It went well. Basically, myself and a partner were the promoters. So it's pretty unusual in my experience. Being in the festival world for a long time, having one member of the band be the promoter of a festival. And that's basically what I did. It was because I threw this little thing last year, Sonic Bloom, and that was Zilla, Bass Nectar, Oa, I don't know Oa, and a few other small acts. It was at Mishawaka, an established venue already, and it went really well. And I thought, let's do it again. And then I chose a venue that didn't have a stage or a PA, and we had to basically bring everything. So Zilla was one of the only live acts, and Sound Tribe, Sector 9's live PA set, Bass Nectar, Motet, Glitch Mob, and a lot of DJs. It went really well. People have given me incredible feedback. The site was amazing. The weather was great, and the music went really well, and it had a really good production team. There you go, Anne. Had a really good production team. All of the people working on it were friends of each other, so it created a really cool family vibe for the festival. We'll certainly do it again. Question from Jared. Jeremy, what's his name? Jared.
Jared Hecht.
Jared. Okay. So you played. Did I get that right? Is it where am I? Okay. Mm-hmm. So you played. Is that the one? So you played and did promotion. You kind of played both sides of the festival.
Oh, yeah, I did everything. I had to answer all the questions. The hard part was that at the festival, I played like 8 times or something like that, because I played with Rena Jones and I played with Zilla, of course, and Spork and Zilla did multiple sets. So I would be on the radio and I would be like, okay, everybody, I'm about to go play now. All questions have to hold off until my set's done. You know, you've seen production managers at festivals on the radio every 10 seconds. Well, that was me. And then being like, okay, I've got a tune, hold on. So it was a lot of work, but it was really rewarding. I've been to so many festivals and I've seen what's effective and what works, and most importantly, what doesn't. So my theory was like, just don't do anything that's bad and everything else will came off pretty good.
You have to understand also a little bit the character of Jamie. He's a little mischief maker, a little bit, I feel like, and you got to know that when you hear some of his replies here. Do I have that right, Anne? Do you think?
I think
he's got a little sparkle in that tooth. You know, if he smiles big enough, it's like shing shing. You're like, oh, there's a little trouble in there.
I think he's less mischievous as he gets older, but maybe he's the same mischievous and he's just putting it different places in himself as he ages. So in 07, I don't think I went to this Sonic Bloom. I think I jump on around 08, 09. Maybe 2010. Maybe like 08, 09 I jump in, because I don't remember seeing the Motet. Okay, Jared says, well, that's a great theory. I guess by process of elimination it worked. What was your highlight of the festival?
Well, for me personally, the highlight was at the very end, the sunrise of the last day, because I finished my last set and all my friends were there. Everybody was super relaxed and the sun was coming up, and a DJ named Brother was playing. It was just a perfect setting, perfect light, perfect everything. It was like, whew, I made it. I'm done. But other than that, the Rebel Alliance Jam was really good. It was kind of like the Everyone Orchestra, which I should have mentioned. Jamie, that's the role. Jamie plays conductor in the role of every.
Huh? Butler plays conductor for Everyone Orchestra.
I've seen Jamie conduct Everyone Orchestra. I have seen that once.
I'm
Or more than once, I feel like.
I'll just say in the current era in the US, Matt Butler has been doing it for a good while. And so
Okay.
Jamie about how and when that switched or what that was, because I know Jamie plays in the Everyone Orchestra.
I've seen him conducted at Oregon Country Fair, and I want to say the Boulder Theater as well.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just what the modern era brings us.
Interesting. Yeah, the Everyone Orchestra. I just think of the Everyone Orchestra as this nebulous thing that is sort of everything all at once. It is exactly what it says it is, the Everyone Orchestra. So anyway, I've done a lot of Everyone Orchestras in Zambiland orchestras. So I've done a lot of conducting. So I got to conduct at the very end. The bands consisted of Kyle, Travis, Kang, and Jason from String Cheese, plus the core of the motet. Garrett on bass, Dave on drums, who we met here on Ridiculous on one of our earlier podcasts. Dave, yep.
Stepfather of my daughter, yes.
Let's see, four of the members. Let's see, Dave on drums, Ryan on guitar, and their keyboard player Adam Revell. So four motet members.
So long ago, Adam Revell in the motet is like
a long time ago. Yeah,
vintage. It's like, oh my,
it goes way back. Yeah. So four motet members, four string cheese members, and then a bunch of guests from the festival came and sat in. Sasha Butterfly, the Funganeers, a bunch of vocalists and MC sat in. So that was kind of the culmination finale. Last set of the main stage Saturday night, and I was conducting at the end. It was kind of a jam. There were no set songs. Nothing was rehearsed. And then Jared asks, what are your thoughts on Simon Posford?
So let's just say Simon Posford is a musician known more widely as Spongel.
Okay.
So
I've heard of Spongel. He mentions Spongel a lot in this. I don't know Spongel. All right.
Well, I like Simon a lot. Simon's playing in Symbiosis as well, and we're doing a super jam kind of conducted thing at the end of Symbiosis, like I did at Sonic Bloom. And there's talk of Simon being in that band. It looks like Kimok is coming out, Steve. So it would be really cool, I think, to have Zilla and Kimok, who played together before in kind of the Jamtronica world.
Yeah, Jamtronica. I've never heard this word before. Jamtronica.
Yeah. Welcome. You moved. When did you move to?
Yeah, 2004. This is kind of like right after I left, there was Jamtronica became a thing. Yeah.
To meet up with a legend in electronica that really helped establish a style that influences a lot of the people who are doing Jamtronica music. Certainly, Hallucinogen and Spongel are an influence on anybody who is doing that style. So if we do a super jam with Simon and Ooh-Ah and the Zilla Core and Jason, who else is in that band? There are a lot of great people playing in Symbiosis. And so I'm working with organizers of the event to hand pick a really cool super jam kind of lineup, and we're calling it the Symbiotica Orchestra. Symbiosis, this happens in California, I do believe, is an amazing event. It's a really, really diverse electronica lineup from around the world. There are DJs from every continent coming. And then Jared says, you're from Boulder, correct?
I'm originally from New York. I was raised in New York City, which I didn't know about Jamie, but I've been in Boulder, Colorado for 11 years. And then Jared asks, have you noticed any distinct discrepancies between East Coast electronic scene and the West Coast electronic scene?
And Jamie says, yeah, I'd say it's pretty much reflected in a similar way of the East Coast jam band scene and the West Coast jam band scene. As a kid on the East Coast, you grew up in that vibe. The second I hit the West Coast, I was like, oh, here's where all my people are. This is where I'm supposed to be. I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about the East Coast, but the East Coast is super old school in the sense that East Coast was the first place settled in the United States. I think there's just a lot more tradition and an old money kind of vibe there. It seeps out into people being a little more hardened on the East Coast. The density of the population on the East Coast, I think, just sets people up for having to deal with more traffic, more hassles. And the West Coast is just more laid back and spread out. There's more room. I think people are just a bit more chill, and they're also a little bit more aware on the social, environmental, forward-thinking realm. And so the vibe of the electronica and festivals out here, people are much more about fashion, really cool new designs of clothes. People are like designing their own clothes. So the vibe of the crowd is a little bit more Burning Man like. The East Coast is a little bit more like, let's see how fucked up we can get, frat kind of vibe. But that's just from years of experience of doing Berkfest and High Sierra and stuff like that. Man, the Shakedown Street at Berkfest was some of the craziest festival scene I've ever seen. Just the vibe of the people is a bit more raging and party oriented, while the West Coast is a little bit more like community. Let's make social change difference here with what we're doing instead of just partying and listening to music. And then Jared says, the hammer dulcimer is a very unique instrument. How do you feel its sound fits in compared to other digital tools more commonly used in live electronica?
And you guys know what the hammer dulcimer is. It's this, what is that? What is that? What shape is it?
Trapezoid.
Trapezoid shaped, 3 sort of section harp, almost like looking, but you can only play it from one side. It's sort of the harp laying on its side and you play it with hammers, and it's like trapezoid. It's we'll get a picture of it later. Yeah.
Or rhombus.
Rhombus. Yeah, there you go. Which has Phish significance. Okay. The thing I've noticed with electronic music, having gone to Burning Man for this, will be my 9th Burning Man. Sorry, I'm just going to keep going. And Burning Man is an amazing place to see every style of electronica being played by DJs all over the place. So I've listened to a ton of this music over the last decade, and one thing I've noticed is that most DJs who produce their music by using computers, still I'm just butchering this, sorry, which most DJs are doing now, there's very little guitar in that music, like very, very little guitar. And most of the live electronica bands that I can think of now most of the live electronica bands that I can think of now have a guitar player. Interesting. Okay, including Sector 9, Soundtribe Sector 9, and Lotus, bands that are dipping into the electronic realm but are very rooted in jam band world because they have the sound of a guitar doing most of the melodies. As soon as you have a guitar, it really calls strongly in the lineage of tradition of guitar jam music. Sorry, Andrea. And I think one of the important strong points of Zilla, which is another band of Jamie's that we'll get into, is that when there's that one melody that's like a hook that happens over the musical beat and the wobbly bass line, it's not a guitar, it's a hammered dulcimer. Okay, that's really interesting, which has a very different tone and a different sound than a guitar. I mean, I can't bend notes like a guitar player can, but I can do these percussive kind of geometrical rhythmic, intimate patterns that are unique to the dulcimer. And then I put my dulcimer through a huge rig of effects, much like a guitar player would. So I change the sound of my instrument. I can make it sound like a keyboard, or sound like a marimba, or sound like a kalimba. I also have an electronic kalimba in my rig, and I have a sitar and a tambora. I don't even know what I don't know what a tambora is. Do you know? What's a tambora? Don't even know. Okay.
Percussive thing.
Yeah, Jamie's a world traveler, and he picks up these instruments from traveling around the world. So I'm bringing some Indian instruments to the mix. I guess the whole idea of Zilla is that we're always seeking to find new sounds to incorporate into the music. Some DJs, like Tipper, for example, you wouldn't be able to listen to a song and recognize a single instrument and be like, oh, there's a mandolin playing, or there's a piano. A lot of DJs create a lot of their sounds from scratch. And that's like a whole field in itself, which is known as sound design. People like Richard Devine, who collaborates with Soundtribe Sector 9, he is mainly known for sound design, as a sound designer, not as a DJ. He's really good at inventing sounds from scratch that have never been heard before. This kind of music, I think, is reaching into the future, relying less on the past and leaning heavily into the future. And that's the main thing that's the thing that is most interesting to me right now. The stuff where it's totally stretching into new realms and not building on tradition, but like trying to reinvent the wheel every minute, you know? This is the part I wanted to get to a couple of these nuggets. This is like, you don't hear that often, you know? You don't really hear somebody saying like, I want to completely abandon rock and roll, you know, and go somewhere completely else. So this is who we're getting to. This is who we're going to invite on stage here in a moment. And then Jared asks, would you say that jam band music in general is moving towards a more electronic edge and style?
Right, before I respond to Jamie, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
Offer a little context. Our article is from 2007. I think I joined Facebook in like 2000.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Right? When everything is still fun and exploratory and there's not this like usury exploitation of the internet all the way yet. So there's something that is culturally and electronically and digitally in flux in the time that Jamie is giving us this interview. Music and genres are so different right now, but this is a really, really interesting anchor point in time in terms of a period of flux in this kind of hippie realm of music. It's not just jam bands. We're out of that. And we're not full send into EDM yet. And this is a really generative space. So Jamie says,
it's an interesting point, Andrea. I'm glad. Thank you for making it. It is a very interesting point.
crazy. So here we're getting a little connection here. Is jam band music moving towards a more electronic edge and style? Jamie says, that's a good question. I think that the trend we see right now is going to continue. I mean, the mainstays of jam band music over the past several years are starting to fade away. The Grateful Dead stopped playing, and then Phish overlapped with the Grateful Dead for a little while. I remember I would look at my calendar and it would be like, Grateful Dead, Grateful Dead, Grateful Dead. And then 3 days later, Phish, Phish, Phish. And man, that was the day. And when Phish was like holding it down and widespread, obviously still playing a lot, and String Cheese stopped, and both String Cheese and widespread are very deeply rooted in Americana, whether it be bluegrass or southern rock or country or just plain rock and roll. And that's very American music. Again, 2007, Phish is, we don't know what's going on with Phish. Trey,
good point.
We haven't heard anything. We don't know what's coming next. This is like this kind of nebulous time in a rock and roll jam band world. And Jamie says, an electronica in the purest sense, with a really well-produced muscle beat and wobbly bass line and the keyboards kind of sound and some spacey, trippy sounds, is not American. It is universal music. And when we busted out our sound in Japan, the kids went crazy. They went insane. I don't know if we were a bluegrass band and play there, if they would go as crazy or not, but it definitely feels like Zilla is pretty universal music. We never play a blues line. There's never a moment where Zilla goes bluesy. And there's not really a moment where Zilla ever plays anything bluegrass or Americana related. It's more related to our space than it is to America. We're very conscious of that. I have a lot of that in our beliefs, let's just say, and things out beyond our immediate being. We really are trying to speak to something larger than the roots where we came from. Although I love the Grateful Dead and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles, the music that we play is not trying to be something where we take that foundation and build upon that. It's more like trying to have a foundation that's rooted in electronic music from every country in the world. When you listen to a really good DJ, you can't say, oh yeah, this sounds like it's French, or this sounds like it was made by an Australian DJ. It just sounds like really good electronica. And in other styles of music, you might notice that it's from that country because they're singing in French, or it's got banjo and accordion in it, or something like that. And I'm talking a traditional American instrument, which is related to instruments from all over the world, and putting it through a bunch of effects and playing it in the context of electronic dance music. To my knowledge, being a dulcimer player that's out there in the world all the time, I really haven't encountered another dulcimer player that's doing that in this genre. So, it's pretty fun for me to be this kind of oddball. I'm playing now more at electronic music festivals than I am at jam band music festivals, because like Spork, for example, and Zilla are playing things like Emergency and Rain Dance and Symbiosis and Sonic Bloom and festivals where there are more DJs than there are live bands. So it's pretty fun for me to show up to a festival where there's barely any live music. It's mostly DJs, bust out my 125 strings and tune them up and play acoustic instruments in electronic context, because it's a really different kind of flavor to throw into the curry of the festival.
And I want to see if Jamie's not here, but Jamie, if you're out there, come up, because this is going to take another 20 minutes to read, and I want to use the time that we have with you to hang out. And there's a lot more here. Maybe if we, what do you think, Anne?
Let's just keep reading until he knocks on the door.
Okay, fine. Okay, is it my turn? Let's see. Do you tune all those? Yeah. Okay, go for it, Anne.
Jared asked, do you tune all those strings individually?
The 125 that he's mentioned moments before. Yeah, I have 85 strings on the dulcimer, 13 strings on the sitar, 19 strings on the tambura, or something like that. It adds up to 125 strings that I tune each time Zilla plays. Plus the setting up of the whole rig with all the multiple instruments and electronics. It's kind of a process. And each member of Zilla has this circular rig of gadgets and electronics all around. And, we're trying to sound like a 6-piece, basically, even though we're a trio. And we do that by at least fundamentally having 2 parts going. Travis and I usually have a beat going. He plays drum kit and I play mini kit, which I invented. And at the same time, we're thinking melody and or hats or harmony. What is hats? Oh, hi. And we're thinking melody and or hat. What is that, Anne? Anyway, okay, and hats or harmony or some other tall percussion sound. Hi-hats, I guess he's saying. And then Aaron Holstein is playing always the bass line and then usually some other melody or keyboard line at the same time. Because we're doing multiple things at the same time, we can't play really complex notey solos. It makes us play in a very kind of restrained compositional way, where instead of being like, okay, it's guitar solo, now it's bass solo, now it's keyboard solo, it's more like we're all contributing a third of the music. And it takes all 3 of us to interlock to make it be that we have these patterns and sections and parts. And the real challenge for us is that we have no songs at all. We didn't have a single bit of repertoire. We can't get into the situation like Camp Bisco.
It's the Disco Biscuits.
Their camp. Okay, got it. When we're in front of a lot of people, let's see, we can't get into a situation like Camp Bisco where we're in front of a lot of people and it's our last song and we've got 10 minutes left. They give us a 10-minute cue. Most of the time when you're in a band, they give you a 10-minute cue and the band members look at each other and like, okay, we have to blow off the other song that we're going to and we're going to go into our big finale song. It's a song that we know and everybody's going to go off and love as the highlight of our set. Well, we don't have that. We have to literally just come up with it out of thin air. And that's our challenge. We have to rise to the occasion from having no foundation to rely upon. And I think that's what makes us a little more different from some other bands. We don't have that compositional element where we're going to bust into a Reba section, right? Isn't that great? Unbelievably well composed.
Really aging well.
Yeah, right. Unbelievably and compose an intricate kind of thing. Okay. And so for the fan of jam music, we hope that they really enjoy what we do, but that's basically all we do. And that's our essence. We're not jamming, but in the essence of check this out. Like, hold on, right? Okay. But we're not jamming in the sense of check this out, just like raging flurries of notes. It's more like Spangle. Okay. We're trying to sound like Spangle and Bass Nectar, and we're not trying to sound like the Grateful Dead, String Cheese, Phish, or Sound Tribe. Although that being said, those are huge influences on all of us. Obviously, Travis is a member of String Cheese, and I saw many, many Phish shows, many Dead shows, sat in with Phish, and that kind of stuff. So that's deeply entrenched in all our brains. But at the same time, the Burning Man thing and the DJ thing has been a huge influence in the last 5 years, and that we desperately tried to sound like a DJ, but we're incredibly influenced by jam band music. That's I think how we bridge this gap. We started doing Zilla in the very beginning. It was a goal from the very beginning, before these 2 scenes fully merged, that we wanted to bring together the String Cheese fans and the world of Bass Nectar fans and the Bass Nectar fans of the world, to the point where the people who found String Cheese, because I'm struggling here, Ann, to the point where the people who found string cheese because they were big bluegrass lovers and they got into more electric until, oh fuck, I'm like butchering this one. He just wants to basically bring these, he wants the overlap. He wants the bass nectar people to be like, oh, I like bluegrass. And he wants the string cheese people to be like, oh, I like electronica. That's what he's basically saying.
I mean, what's tough about this article, just to couch your gaffes, is
right.
There's no punctuation that is signaling.
It's a little tricky, yeah.
Pauses, and Jamie is a person that like has long, complex sentences that go off. It doesn't necessarily translate easily.
But it's an interesting idea, and I love it that, you know, he's bringing these two worlds together. And then he says at the end of this this long paragraph, he says, I have in the back of my mind that I really want to do a bluegrass electronica concert. I mean, like, what the fuck? Because there was one Zilla show where Jeff Austin from Yonder Mountain sat in with our last song, and we played like a fast drum and bass. And the last 30 seconds of the show, Travis went into a full train beat. We did the bluegrass thing, and Aaron was playing a big bass line. People freaked. And you can imagine you get Yonder Mountain up there with a huge electronic bass sound, and Zach from Sector 9 on drums or something. Man, that would be some future music right there, man. That's some like future music, bro. Bringing together the Americana and the future space music. To my knowledge, I haven't heard anybody doing that, and I'm all about trying to do stuff like that. I think that's kind of like, we can basically end it there. So that's what you have. You have somebody who's like really has no fear and combining, you know, like smashing together incongruent genres of music that not only like incongruent, but like the like never the two shall meet sort of type genres. And that's pretty fucking daring. That's pretty fucking daring. So I have a lot of respect for him for this. I'm just kind of scrolling down there. There might be one or two more fishy kind of things. He talks about like he talks about the cheese moment where Travis is quoted at one point. Michael Travis, the drummer for String Cheese Incident, he says somewhere in an article that it was a little bit of a not inflammatory comment, but he said like, I only listen to electronic music and it's the only thing I think about.
That's the least inflammatory thing Michael Travis has said.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, musically, controversial amongst some people. There were some detractors of this comment. And then Billy, what's Billy's last name?
Hershey.
Billy Nershi, he says that like he wants, you know, all he does is listen to bluegrass music, and he doesn't and he wants to play without drums. And Jamie goes on to say it's like you have two guys in the same band who don't listen, they don't listen at all to the same music, and yet they're playing together, which is like, you know, stating the obvious a little bit, but also kind of profound about the cheese.
If you scroll to the last section of the article, I want to
pick a spot and go for it. I see Trey's name mentioned here. He's talking about rhythmic section. I'm not sure if you're where you are, but
I'm at the very last section.
Hold on. Let me I'm on page. Let me read this part real. Yeah. Let me read this. Let me see. Okay. I have a let's see. He says, because the buildup of electronic is to drop out and to be very minimal for a while, and then slowly bring up more elements and build up like a big snare roll or something like that, and then you hit the top of the jam and really hit hard. But that's not in a sense, but it's not in the sense of what like Trey would do, building harmonic and rhythmic tension and then hiding the one and then dropping down really hard on the one. Okay, sorry, that's kind of okay. Anyway, he's the final comment here is that's the more traditional jam band methodology for building up energy and then releasing it. It's a tension and release. And I've had long conversations with Trey about this stuff, and I think it's great. So he's just talking about electronica, about how it's all about tension and release and tension and release. And it is. Anytime you go to a dance club, it's like, you think the drop's coming and it's not coming, and then it's coming, and then it's not coming. Phish is full of that, you know? It's full of moments where you're like, it can't go any huger, and yet it does, and then it does again, and it's like, I'm coming, you know, it's like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, and every time I'm pumping that iron, I'm like, you know, sorry, but
last section, because I have things to say about.
Okay, go. Take whatever you want.
Our author asks, computers have found themselves as an increased presence on stage in electronica acts. How do you feel about software such as Ableton Live?
Oh, this is
And
cool.
again, context of 07. I worked at a school in 2016-17 school year where we had a music production program that was all Ableton Live. So in 07, Jamie is being asked, what do you think about this program? 9 years later, there are schools that I've worked at that are teaching this to kids, and Ableton Live has become in many ways a sort of industry standard and a musical standard for mixing and for composing.
Yeah.
And here's what Jamie says. Ableton hasn't been around for a very long time, and I think it's the most powerful instrument, I would call it, ever made. I mean, Ableton is an incredible program. It's called Live for a reason. They call it Ableton Live because it's meant to be something that you use live. With a lot of work in your studio ahead of time, you can make basically any type of sound, any kind of beat, any kind of chord progression, and then bust that out live and perform live over it and do infinite variations on it. These kids that are growing up today, back in the day when we were kids, you'd grow up and you'd be like, man, check it out. There's this cool new effects pedal that does loops. Now that's like old hat. And there are 14-year-old kids who are busting their Macintosh with Ableton Live on it, playing this incredible music at a really young age. So there's like many pioneers of electronic DJ music now, like thousands of them sprouting up all over because of the atmosphere and culture and technology that exists right now. So I really do see the jam band thing progressing more into future music and moving a tiny bit farther away from tradition. Now, that's how the article ends. I think it's really, this is like a really cool time capsule in the story of the evolution of popular music, or like fringe popular music, hippie fringe popular music.
Just say it, Ann. Jam band music.
And
No, sorry.
So fascinating. In 07, my daughter would have been in my preschool still. Milo would be 2 years old, so she'd be 11. Nowadays, I mean, my daughter goes to see, she's 28, she's turning 29 in a month. She sees all they are is Ableton Live on stage. It's a dude with a computer and a little MIDI keyboard and huge production at Red Rocks, and the kids are getting their faces melted off by this giant bass and these subwoofer stacks from Brown Note production, and fucking, I know, it's just really fascinating to think about.
Yeah, it comes on I think like the microphone software that I bought, like it's like the light version, Ableton. Like I bought something, I think in the interface that it came with it, and I was like, oh, let's have a play with this, and I was like, oh, this is like, looks like hours and hours and hours of fun.
Yeah,
I'm not
get lost in there.
Yeah.
Your whole life.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I mean, he kind of seen into the future, it's very telling that he's got his finger on the pulse pretty good. However many years ago this is, over 10 years ago.
It's like a whole adult, a whole lifetime of raising a kid to be an adult in the world. 18 years. And like 5 days. 18, 4 days old.
Well, Ninja Cat Matt's here. He's got left a lot of comments here, and
he's been on the Dogs in a Pile tour.
Yep, he says here, King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard do live improv electronic music. Okay, for part of their act, maybe it sounds like Jamtronica, right? I love that. That was a funny little takeaway from this Jamtronica. For part of their okay,
Crazy.
great passion. Let's see, laid back and chill, more West Coast thing. Okay,
I love me a lady dulcimer, one of my favorite instruments. Did you see Ninja Cat's photographs of his adventure and his tour? He has some really great shots.
I didn't. Okay, I didn't see them. No, I would like to though. That sounds cool.
Here, they're gonna be in Denver at the end of January. I think I'll go see them based on his like rabidness about them.
Yeah, I did listen. I went and like dug them up somewhere, and like I did listen to some YouTube videos or I listened to something, and I like saw them, and I was like, oh, these guys are good. Yeah, it was like the first time I'd kind of like come to first time I saw them. Yeah, 4,000 miles, dude. Well done. I think you mentioned that on one of my other streams. I'm very impressed, very jealous too. It's 5 national parks. Good grief. Early 2000s was a bleak period for music. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to get away from Phish. We've talked about this a little bit, but let's not do that. Okay.
Early 2000s, I would say I was getting into Cuban traditional music. I was studying like not active study, but listening a lot to Cuban jazz, sort of modern jazz that like mix Cuban rhythms. I was sort of in a like let me study 6/8 rhythm and dance is what was happening for me.
Right. No, I was like listening to like
Tom Waits at the diner.
no, I was listening to the Moldy Peaches and Adam Green and huh?
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know.
Yeah, I was listening to like just magazine music, like musics that pitchfork kind of things that were like on the back pages. What's this? What's this? Okay. Oh, look at these guys. They're like sort of like Monty, sort of like yeah, weenie-ish, Yola Tango-ish, a little bit like Velvet Underground-ish, and just like appealing to those sort of like weirdo punky things, going less like removing myself from my patchwork, my patchwork pants or whatever.
I know you got the Previa and you let us borrow it. And
you guys drove to Washington, D.C. with the Previa. I remember that.
In 2002, because 9/11 happens in what?
That's crazy that you guys did that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and $800 from Andy Young, and we went to DC before the US starts bombing Afghanistan.
That's crazy.
And we go on the Peace March, and I'm like getting into, with your sister, like punk, anarchist, fucking like basement grunge. That was fun.
Yeah. Who all went? You, Freddie, my sister, and
Bridget.
Bridget. What a good crew.
Yeah, we were
that's like the Wizard of Oz. That's like a really good crew.
fun.
Fun.
Have in terms of comments.
Yeah, Matt doesn't like string cheese. Okay, that's fair. Like we don't. Not everything is for everybody.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
But he loves the vibes and the peoples.
Yeah. Also, I have a big leftover salmon connect.
This has very little to do with Phish. Well, it does actually. I mean, Jamie did play with Phish, and we want to talk to him about Phish, but he's MIA actually. Where's Jamie? Jamie, are you coming up, dude? Did we get the wrong date or something?
No, he's probably like out with his cats at Hummingbird Ranch photographing some new art project or something.
Well, let me pull up. I can share it. I've got a couple Jamie things pulled up. I'll pull them up.
Is anybody watching today, Brian? Cat Man, who we love deeply and we're glad to have back.
I'm frozen, right?
No, you're back.
Okay. Every time I like navigate to a browser window, I get a little freezy, and that's very disconcerting.
Out to Jamie on my FaceBiz.
I see some. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share this Google search window. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to blast through the article because I thought he would. I didn't want to like go on too long about it because I wanted to chat with him, and I knew the article was like 15 pages, so I was just like, let's see here. Is that you pinging me and both of us at the same time?
Oh, that's me seeing if he'll join us.
Okay.
And he doesn't say la. I mean, here we are
It's
out
fine. It's fine.
Of like Phish community, and that's kind of our zone.
Yeah.
Social history edges of Phish world. I like the word adjacent, but it's sort of perforated more than adjacent.
So, oops. So you're just looking at a Google search of Jamie Janover and the Realms Mobile, but over here, I had this CD. I don't know what happened to it. I have asked you if you got all my CDs, but I think you said you didn't. But these are two hammer dulcimers, sort of head to head, I think. And I kind of was curious about them. I think the one, I wish I could make it bigger, but one of them I think maybe was like custom made for him. Maybe one of these was, he got from some, I don't know, but I think he had like a little mark, sort of like, some famous guitar player might have in their bridge or some inlay or something. So, but I love the juxtaposition of the two on each other. It kind of looks like a butterfly, kind of looks like a drum, kind of looks like very cool. And Andrea, I saw somebody, I was like, I wonder if I could get, that's a good picture of Jamie holding his dulcimer in the fields of Bali, I'm going to assume. And he takes his here's in his Realms Mobile. I want to get a picture of it. And that's another, I think that's one of his first 2 or 3 records. Here he is in the middle of like the salt flats, even though I doubt that's like Burning Man, but
could be Burning Man. Like,
no, I think this is too long ago. This is like Utah or California or something. This is even though Burning Man goes way back, this one definitely is Burning Man. There's the Realms Mobile, and there's some pyrocussion going on there. This is his mini kit here on the front of the Realms Mobile, and it's this recumbent bicycle that it has a trailer on it as well. Let me see if I can find a better picture. There's videos of it. We can try to watch a video. That's the pilot's view. And he rides this thing around the playa and he plays drums and he's got flamethrower fire coming out of the thing. And he's playing these like, electro, like drum and bass beats. It's really, really interesting. I don't know if I've ever actually seen it before. I maybe have seen it, but without the fire. Have you seen it? Surely you've seen it.
I have.
Okay. So Zakir is saying this is one of his heroes. I know. And Jamie travels, and there's Aaron Holstein, who is part of Zilla, one of the 3 members of Zilla. I adore Aaron Holstein. Do you know Aaron well, Anne? You don't?
I do.
Okay. God, I love him so much. He's just amazing. Here's Jamie at the Hammer Dulcimer, and there's his handsome mugshot and him holding his Hammer Dulcimer. I have a funny, kind of a funny story about him. Just a quick one. I think I was in San Francisco on a shopping street or something, on like some kind of like plaza thing, and there was a guy who had a Hammer Dulcimer, and he was a little bit more gray hair than all of us, and he was like, he had these little extensions on it, all his fingers, all of them.
Oh,
and
to pluck.
Huh?
To pluck the strings?
To play them like they were little bows.
Wow.
There was little tiny bows, like a violin bow at the end of each finger.
That's wild.
And you know how you might like run your finger around like a wine glass, right?
Yeah.
He played the Hammer Dulcimer like woo, woo. It was like volume up and volume. It was like Jamie completely different the technique to play the dulcimer. Completely different than Jamie. Jamie plays. I really want to encourage you guys. Maybe I'll play some. I'm kind of nervous to like. I don't want to crash the stream. I've had some unluck,
Don't
some bad luck.
Yeah.
Let's try. Let's just see what happens. Share this tab instead. Okay, let's see here. Okay, it's coming in. Let me turn the volume on. There we go.
That's awesome.
Several times. Close to 2 o'clock, close to home. That was a blowout.
So
I had like
crazy.
2 turns on the cage.
There's like a trailer component to it as well. So that is the Realms Mobile. Drums plus tricycle plus percussion. You're breaking up a little bit, Ann. You're here, Ann?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very loud.
So I said to let's get some hammer dulcimer up. This is a little. Let me get some hammer dulcimer up.
Asking if this is from the most recent Burning Man.
That was 8 years ago. This one was 7 years ago. Yeah, I think Jamie he's kind of gotten inside the inner circle of the Burning Man folks. I think Kang and the Cheese guys have like worked their way up to, like, I think John Barlow is part of the was part of the, maybe even like founders. He was like one of the 4. Don't quote me on this. Do you know the story, Ann?
I wrote my master's thesis on Burning Man. Yes.
Oh, really? Okay, so where does Jamie fit into the equation of it? Is it of interest at all?
The founder, but he comes later.
He's a founder, but he comes later?
He is not a founder.
No. I didn't think that. Doesn't Burning Man go back to like technically like 82 or something? It goes back quite a ways, right?
Here is my master's thesis.
Okay, hold on. How do I get this off the screen?
When I defended my thesis, I went home and I got in the bathtub, and my son was so little, but I went back and I annotated my whole thesis. I was like, God, I fucked that up. Let's see. I wrote on play theory and Burning Man. I'm not, it was quite a long time ago. I finished my thesis.
Well, I think it was their next generation of guys who are above them, and maybe even one more above them. But I know that like Bill Keys told me that he was kind of friendly with John Barlow, and he told me that it was his circle of friends who started Burning Man. Maybe it's like 70s even.
Right, but Barlow is not one of the OG people that is.
Yeah, I figured. But because Barlow was like he was just part of like movements, I think in general. I wonder if he recognized that early on as like a big thing, that something that would become an ongoing thing. Is Burning Man's this year's Burning Man? How does it? Do you know? Was there any news on it? How does it compare to past years? What's trending in Burning Man? No idea.
What's trending in Burning Man? Plug and play camps. Lots of money. Perversion of the original values of Burning Man.
Okay.
Lots of trash in the trash fence. I also do believe that Daft Punk actually played this year.
Yeah, really? What? No. Daft Punk? Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure about anything, but
no way. Daft Punk's been like gone for 10 years. I can't believe they come back and play Burning Man.
What I'll tell you, I went to Burning Man the first time in 2004 with Stacy Ludlow, Kaya Cochran, and Dave Watts. I went back in 2008 for my research year, and I published my thesis in 2009. So that's like 16 years ago. So much has changed. So much has changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some more. I'm going to play something else. Jamie has collaborated with so many different artists, Phish being one of them. Stanley Jordan, this amazing like 9-string guitar player, is crazy cool avant-garde jazz guitar player. And I'm going to play just a little bit of this. But then he's got something else that's completely, this was I would say, like this is around the time I met Jamie. Stanley Jordan was coming around, I feel like, somewhat frequently. I don't know. I feel like it was like I saw it a number of times. I feel like, I'm not sure, I have no memory, but like in the Boulder Theater, it's all a little bit of a blur, but I remember seeing, I definitely remember seeing him before and just being like, whoa, he's got this, like Eddie Van Halen way of playing guitar, and
is like the master of like tapping and
yeah, let me pull it up a second.
Like something moving him, not he's moving himself, kind of a vibe.
So this is not a video, but let's just play a little bit of this. Stanley Jordan, Jamie Janover. Can you hear it, Ann? Oh, it's so pretty. That dulcimer's. I went and revisited some of his CDs last night. I actually kind of fell asleep listening to this. Not this, but not far from this. It's really mesmerizing, the way he plays it, and he's got these little tiny sticks, these little tiny hammers, and it's so delicate and so fast, and I love that. Sounds like, you can hear the influence of India in the tablas. So I was gonna ask Jamie, like, wow. I mean, it just goes on. Hold on. I'm going to jump to another one. I saw Jamie in Lynx. He came here with Lynx some years ago to Japan. I saw one with him. Oh, here's one. Oh, that's the making of. Let's just see here.
If you talk over the music, turn it down because it's a lot on my brain.
Okay. Let me look up our Janover. Links.
I wonder if you just spaced out on us.
Yeah, he probably just forgot. He's got the day wrong. Which one of these songs is the one I really dig? Lynx is a producer. I think I'll turn it down. Is it too loud? What was the one tune I really liked a lot from theirs?
They spend too many moons away from their true homes, put away in corners they're supposed to call their own. But the crow still sings at the break of day. No matter what the sun rays, they'll still sing their songs and say,
well, this became like I think again this was like a transition from what we just heard a moment ago, and like it existing in this kind of, for lack of better words, the world music kind of idea, the sort of ECM type avant-garde sort of jazz sort of thing into or world music kind of notion into, you know, collaborating with producers and DJs and electronica. And then I think it goes full on like drums and bass, a couple of collaborations down the way. But I thought I wanted what did you want to talk about with Jamie actually? There was one thing there was a couple of things that I had in mind that I wanted to ask.
Why don't you say what you want to talk about?
I wanted to know, like, actually, do you have any clue how the hammer dulcimer works? Does it have one pedal, or does it have two pedals, or does it have like multiple pedals?
I can't answer that, but
right?
it works like the inside of a piano. It's strung and it is hit by a hammer.
But is it tuned to like is it open tuning, or is it?
I should think it's a chromatic tuning.
Okay. Yeah, I would like, I mean, I would never feel comfortable to be like, can I take a stab at this? Maybe I did one time. You never played it before, right?
Well, okay. In 5th grade,
Uh-huh.
made dulcimers at school because I went to this kind of wild humanities-based school where we would do the things we were studying and studying the things we were making. And I was in a dulcimer orchestra for 5th grade, which was fun. Maybe my mom still has this little dulcimer, but you know, and Joni Mitchell plays a dulcimer on Blue.
Right.
And you play on top of it rather than around it like a guitar or ukulele or a bass. But no, I really don't know that much about it. No.
Right. I wondered if it's like Jamie's a percussionist, and I think when he played with Phish, I think he played percussion, and I don't think he played dulcimer. I think he brought up some drums and maybe a percussion set or something. I think he came and added some percussion color, but I don't think it was the dulcimer. But I wanted to ask him about that. But you can just hear from that the way that he plays. It's just so unique, and I think it has something to do with the tininess of the hammers and the lightness of them, and the way you can just dance with them so quickly and like almost play them like you know, like pencils or something. I don't know how to put, you know. And so, you know, I wonder if Jamie considers his technique to be more percussive in nature or to be more melodic in nature. And if it's more percussive, like is the hammer dulcimer, does it look harder to play than it actually is, or is it actually harder to play than it looks? That was something that I kind of wanted to ask him about. It's just such an enigma of an instrument. Have you ever played a sitar before?
No.
Sitar is ridiculously weird. It is so strange. And it has these like, you know, and if you never picked one up, you would never have any clue how it works. And even when you do pick one up, you're like, how does it? Okay, I kind of got my head around it. But I wanted to know if like Jamie kind of considers himself, I wondered if he's like, if his initial roots go back to drumming, or if they go back to like guitar or something like that. That was something I was kind of curious about. I had another thing I wanted to ask him about. I'll have to save the question for him when we can get him up on again.
Can I say what I would ask him?
Yeah.
I think I am more curious about, in the context of the podcast, like where does he enter jam band history with Phish? I know that he and Dave are the Bibbles along with Stacy and maybe Jacob I, but I'm kind of that generative story. And maybe it starts at Neptune that Dave talked about, but maybe it starts earlier. And then I'm also really curious. So working at Sonic Bloom and all these kind of wild artists we work with, because I was in the hospitality world, so I, you know, offended and loved many artists that sort of came through and whatnot. But I was really kind of interested in hearing a little bit more about his take on Sonic Bloom. And then the other thing I'm interested in with Jamie, and some of that music reminded me of it. You said that like you were listening to the music and you fell asleep, right? And there is this sort of tonality and resonance in what I think Jamie is interested in as a musician.
Undertones, overtones, yeah.
And I was actually just feeling like a little bit of vibes of my sound bath from Witch Camp, where when a couple different tones combine and overlap each other, they create this wobble that I find very healing. And so I'm kind of interested in those stories around like tonality and maybe more like kind of theory stuff, like nerdy theory shit. And man,
Yeah. I want to know the genesis story of Bibble and Double Dig, and I want to know where he comes into that scene. And I also want to know like how did he get to Zakir Hussain? Like where does that come from? I know that he like, you know, growing up in New York City, that raises a little question mark. Like, well, who were his folks? Did he get? And I think he like grew up in the
or Mass or something like that. So yeah, I'm curious about like Jamie's early days. New York City kind of fits. And
hold on, Ann. Let me interrupt you. Sorry, Matt. Dude, you matter. Don't say it's that, man. We care about you. Don't say it like that. You matter, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Matt's got a lot of comments, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Let's read some of them. So yeah. So about Ableton and about going back a little bit, Matt says I think you're referring to this. It's kind of cheating to create music on electronic like on computers. Creates less virtuosic artists, in my humble opinion. Saved jams aren't live, in my humble opinion. Any takes on that, Anne?
I deeply disagree, but I respect you.
Okay, yeah, I think it's changed. I think it's a position that we all like. I think that position is sort of dissolving a little bit as we.
I just think there is no like Stevie Wonder without the synthesizer, which is electronic and goes all the way back. There's so much to lean into around music production, sound, quality of recordings. Without the computer, I mean, I wouldn't have in-ears in my band and be able to like hear myself. So I don't know. Edwin is always pushing us to like embrace technology and yeah, I think there's a lot there.
Trey says something about in one of those interviews. He's like, "There's nothing more beautiful on God's green earth than like a symphony or an orchestra, an in tune orchestra tuning up or something like this."
Yeah.
He says, and he says in that comment, like wood. The words he uses are like wood and brass or whatever it is. He says, you know, wood and brass. I think he says that in some comment, and I do appreciate that. You know, even though Phish dips their toes into these waters, and I think they especially did so. You know,
last year. So
last year at Halloween, incredible.
What's interesting about that is, and I would not disagree with Trey, but on the other side of things, I took a nap one year at Sonic Bloom underneath the main stage, when Tipper was playing. And I got reorganized by tonality in the hour and a half that I napped under the stage, like a little pirate. And there, like something about sticking your head into a function one speaker has done something to my brain and my body that might even be analogous to wood and strings in the symphony hall. So who is to say? I don't know. I like
Yeah.
want to be teeny tiny, like shrink yourself and throw yourself into a cello or something like that, and like just float in a cello that's being bowed by some, like Yo-Yo Ma or whatever. I mean, it's really analogous. So
I mean, David Gilmour was on a recent podcast with this guy Rick Beato. Do you know who this guy is?
sorry, I just got lost in Matt wants to be drum tech for the dog.
Okay, wait, hold on. It's good to explore new acts. Dogs in a pile are going to blow up. I'm considering asking them for a job. Maybe ask assistant drum tech. Okay, great musicians and great songwriting. Dude, do it. That sounds like a great gig.
I really need to go see that. I'm going to on January 31st.
Okay. By the way, you're amazing, Miss Andrea. Okay. By the way, you look amazing. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, made me younger and my hair more silver, I think.
There you go. Miss. Okay, miss. Got it. Phish adjacent works.
Oh, WRX works? Okay.
I'm not sure. Do you know? I don't know. I don't know works. Are they a band?
No, I think he's just saying like Phish.
Okay, if we're talking Phish adjacent works. Okay, they're very percussive for a string instrument, dulcimers. Yeah. Yes. And I suppose the comparison would be like the piano.
No.
But I don't think your fingers do like a piano. Like they just can't go that fast. They can't bounce off the keys like they can off the strings with the hammers.
Like Ruth Underwood from Zappa. All percussiveness, the xylophone, ballophone. I mean, what's the other one? This metal. This is like basically a metal percussion piano. Vibraphone, totally. And that different technology, you strike metal, not string, but maybe like same chromatics. I mean, Ruth, good Lord, like between percussiveness and tonality, it's like.
I met a giant Ruth Underwood fan. Not that there's a guy in this circle of people who's like.
You say?
There's a guy in the circle of people. I think his name's Bill, and he's like all about Ruth Underwood. He's
yes.
He's like he collects records that are like not, everything that she ever played on, and she played on a lot besides Zappa.
Fucking epic. Oh my god.
Right.
Yes.
Drums and Fire are natural allies. Yes, they were. Yes, right? Okay. Like those dental flossers. I'm talking about like the dental flossers. Exactly right. Ninja Cat Man. Oh, so I didn't finish this story.
Okay.
When I said to that guy, like, hey, do you know I'm from Boulder, and he was like, do you know Jamie Janover? He's like, Jamie Janover, my arch nemesis.
No, he did not.
Yes. Something like this. It was so sweet and it was so funny. He's like, no. He was properly like freaky hippie dude, like properly like crazy old guy with like Patch Adams, kind of like goofy and fun. And it was so funny when he was like, that guy, he's been in my crosshairs for a long time. But I think they know each other and they're buds.
That's funny.
Brian is so easily sidetracked.
Oh my god.
I am. I know.
Not even get me started. You missed a couple weeks ago where I don't even know if I got a word in.
Okay. Well, there's another thing I want to talk about. There's one more thing that we can kind of wrap this up on, I guess. I got a little sidetracked. I kind of like I lost my bearings a little bit. The fact that we didn't get our buddy up here. I was really keen to chat with them. Oh no, dude, that sucks.
Next time Mike Travis is in town, he might come stay with.
We'll get them both on, and we'll just kill two birds with one stone. I've never attended Burning Man. Neither have I. Have you been to Burning Man, Ann? Surely, yeah, you've been a couple times. Been once. You've never been. Well, obviously, I would assume you have if you've written your thesis on it. Yeah. Okay, but still, I could have assumed that you might not have. Have you been multiple years?
And I very clearly said I went the first time in 2004.
Sorry.
And then I went back in 2008 for my research year. I stayed Tahopia next to Tahoe Twisted. These are the Lake Tahoe camps, and fucking crushed so hard. Yeah, I've been twice. I don't suppose I will go again. I'm glad I went before maybe some of the more weird shit has begun. I will tell you my favorite thing I did at Burning Man. This was great. I think this was 04. It was digital and it was tech forward, but it still had this like kind of, I don't know, like arts and crafts feeling about it. I played a like 70-foot game of Tetris at Burning Man. You walk up this giant stairway, 2 stairways, up, and get at the landing, and you have your Game Boy controller. I fucking love Tetris. I spent like all of like, you know, late middle school into high school on my little Game Boy. On talking my girlfriends playing Tetris. I fucking love Tetris. And I would actually cut school and go play Tetris up on the hill at the arcade up there, because they had the old school one with the little Russian guys. And anyway, you go up the stair, you stop, and you got your controller and you're playing Tetris on this enormous screen. And that was one of the highlights of my first year Burning Man. It was
like a real screen, like a real
giant. This is like before
like projector movie theater scale sort of screen.
Tall and skinny, like 70 feet high. I'm sure I could figure out who the artist was.
Okay.
It was like one of my favorite things. My other favorite thing that happened in Burning, just a quick one. We have been up all night. It's very dusty. I had my contact lenses on because you're often putting your goggles on and off. Then I'm up at the temple. That's what I wrote my thesis on for my master's in religious studies, modern ritual. And my eyes are so cloudy and I'm feeling tired and everything's kind of this light grid. And I go find, I'm like, I gotta go to bed and like pop a Xanax. I can't see a thing. This is weird. And then I find my friend Megan, who sort of has a bag of CVS products, and she's got some eye drops. So she's like, sweetie, try an eye drop. And I dropped my eyes, and all of a sudden I could see everything. It was just dust in my contacts.
Oh, no.
I took a Xanax, and then things got weird and fun. And it was a great morning. Serving pancakes as a sort of half-naked caricature of myself that was Russian. I don't know. It was a whole big thing.
That's Burning Man. It sounds like Burning Man. I've never been, but I don't think I would survive very long. I'm too...
But not... But it was a great time.
I'm sure. It's like, I remember...
I'd go back based on what it has become. I'm glad I caught it when I did.
Right. Like, you know, really random tangent here, but incredibly random tangent. But we went to, you know, Darla. Did you know Darla?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Okay. So Darla and Piper, you probably don't remember Piper. Do you remember Piper? Darla and Piper invited me and Allison to Valley View, right? When we were like 20, and we're like, what is this place? And they're like, oh, it's a hot springs out in San Luis Valley. God, that place is so gorgeous, so amazing. One of the most amazing places I think I've ever been in my whole life. And like you know, it was like, of course, it's the Japanese hot springs are all separated by men and women, and they basically have, you know, what do they call them? Like developed, semi-developed, and undeveloped hot springs. Undeveloped, you like go and you climb up a mountain and there's a little pool that's where some rocks have been pushed aside. Semi-developed is something like you have at Valley View, where it's like a campground and they have like a kind of a big pool that it's not a swimming pool per se, but it's like, you know, rock and sandy bottom. And then you have like something like El Dorado Springs, which is like a swimming pool, like a public pool, right? All the Japanese springs are kind of like El Dorado Springs a little bit, like and all the men and the women are separated. And if the men and the women are together, the women they both wear like towels, and they're discreet about it. So there's none of this really like full nudity situation. But in America, and I got into the hot spring world, you know, everybody has it. Every hot spring has its own sort of rules and has its own thing. And there's like swimsuits involved and not swimsuits and mandatory and not mandatory. And everyone kind of like, they all have slightly different, you've been to a bunch, but the first time that what's that?
I was just at Ojo Caliente. So.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. I've been to that one. Yeah. And but the first time we went, I was terrified, you know, because I don't think anybody had seen my.
That is hippie nudie clothing optional with old guys wearing, you know, like belts of wine with their schlongs hanging out.
That's the thing, the belt, right? The naked dude in the belt. What is that about? Right? That's a thing.
No, I it's a look. It could be.
That's funny.
And boots, you know, whatever.
And boots, right. Anyway, as soon as I got my clothes off, you know, and like settled in, like after 2 hours had passed, I was like, I'm never putting my clothes back on, you know? And I feel like that would happen at Burning Man. I would be very reluctant to go. But like once I got there and once I had the dust in my contacts and I would be taking a nap in the bass speaker and having my brain rearranged probably.
Yes.
Okay, well, more comments from Matt. He said he was going to go play some video golf or something, but dude, thanks for coming by and like leaving the.
Glad to have you back. Glad you made it home.
I asked Mike how Santana busted Trey's nose at Colorado State Fair. Wow. Said he didn't remember. Happened in 92. Asked Mike how Santana busted Trey's nose. I've never heard that story.
Mike Gordon?
I guess. Yeah, Mike. What's the story on that, Ninja Cat Matt? Interesting.
More to come.
Interesting. Okay, you're fine. No ego. Okay, I babble. Electronic, not recorded. Stevie. Wow, we're going way back. Are we this far? No. This was just came. Okay. I'm not anti-tech. Okay, a lot of comments here. It's sample the sound or tone, not the melody. Okay. But then you don't have like what about the Beastie Boys? It's like, I love the fucking Beastie.
What about Daft Punk?
Yeah, what about Daft Punk? Ruth was a percussive goddess. Okay. She's amazing, Ruth. All right, there's one more thing. Okay, let me just twice she just said. Okay, physical Tetris sounds fun and exasperating.
Oh, it's not like physical. It's not like people are dropping into.
I thought that's what I imagined instantly. I thought you'd have these like human Tetris sort of thing, and like that's what I'm imagining.
But imagine playing it on a 70-foot screen, and you have walked up 25 feet of stairs to play. It's fucking epic. Oh yes, I just drove to the San Luis Valley. So amazing. I listened to Kid A on the way there in the dark, way back in the light. Oh my God, Radiohead. What is Radiohead without electronic?
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm like so discombobulated. I really am. I'm like totally lost here. And
disappointing.
What's that?
Your heart is sad.
Yeah.
On chit chatting and reliving some old Japan memories and talking about all the people. It doesn't mean we won't have you on, Jamie.
No, we love Jamie. He's family dog. But the thing I wanted to the other thing that this bluegrass electronic thing just sounds totally like bonkers. And I recently heard a question that was being asked of like two music lover people and music loving people, and one of them said like, what was an album that like really, really changed your life? You know, what was one of the most formative records of your youth? And I was thinking about what would the answer to that question be for myself, and Graceland came to mind.
Oh God, so fun.
Right. Graceland really blew me away, and I listened to it, a million times. It was almost like, I'm not sure if I had been a Beatles fan and maybe I would have listened to Revolver 10,000 times. I listened to Graceland like 10,000 times until I knew that.
Yeah, that just like, I probably opened up my scope on hearing. I mean, because it's like Ladysmith Black Mambazo is basically the backing band, and so getting African rhythm in your sort of mainstream rock and roll in the 80s. Oh my God.
Well, that kind of confounded me, which is why I want to talk about it and why I feel
Yeah.
like it connects to Jamie a little bit. No. And it's a great point. Ladysmith, Blackman, Bozo. I went and bought their records,
Yeah.
and they're so good, right? And I like them more than Graceland. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
calling cassette, and I had 3 or 4 of them, and there was a lot, I think, and some were like, I want to go find those again. I can't. They're actually, I think they might be kind of hard to find. They might be hard to come by, but like you can call me Al and
Chevy Chase and
Chevy Chase, right? But it's still got the boom, boom. It's got those drums in it, and it's got the it still has the Swahili, South African. It's got that thing on it on that song, and then the song Graceland, I'm going to Grace. What the hell does Graceland have anything to do with South Africa? This really confounded me as a kid. And I'm like, why is the album called Graceland? Why is there this picture of this African thing? And why is it called Graceland? Is Graceland Africa? Is that what he's saying? Graceland is Graceland. Graceland is Elvis, Graceland is Nashville. What is this connection?
American music without a Black African influence that comes through slavery in American culture.
That's an interesting take.
Don't know, but that's my first thought.
That's a very interesting take. I love that. And probably on a subconscious level, that's probably what it is, I would guess. But
the sort of spiritual sense of church music in America is through rhythm that is in bodies that were brought here, and so much of that music and that album is like this embodied feeling rhythm. I don't know, I'm just sort of spitballing.
To be honest, I read something that was like, oh, that's why, 15 years ago or maybe 25 years ago, and I probably forgot exactly what it was, and I may have it this completely wrong, but Paul Simon talked about what one of his formative records was when he was a kid, and it was Elvis.
Yeah.
And he said the way that Elvis took to incongruent genres and smashed them together was profound to him. Mm-hmm. And that's what he has done. That's what he was claiming to do with I think he was being asked all of your records have these, this record has this Latin flair, this record has this South African flair, from this record you're pulling from these genres and this genre. And I think what his reply was, yeah, I'm basically taking a cue from Elvis, and I'm taking one style of music and juxtaposing it, one style of non-American pop music and juxtaposing on American pop or American sensibilities, or
Elvis without the roots of Black.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I found a record store yesterday that was all classical music. It was this really interesting. I just stumbled upon it accidentally, and they were super cool. And and they had all these $100, $500, $1,000 records that are the maniac of classical music is. This is where they would go shopping. And I was asking him a whole bunch of questions. I said, I love classical music. I listen to classical music actually more than I look like I would listen to it. And I know, my composers a little bit, but not really enough to feel comfortable at the table. And I certainly don't know orchestras, and I certainly don't know pressings, but school me a little bit. Give me the, who came first, Bach or Beethoven or Mozart? What's the order? I always forget what it was. I started the conversation like that, and they kind of, we got this conversation going, and I'm just I'm sure that if I knew the periods, the Romantic period, the Victorian period, the American era, I don't know what the eras are, but I wonder if they thought about I wonder if combining music, electronic music and bluegrass music, I wonder if they if that's been a idea that has gone back through all of music, or if traditional music doesn't really think about if the evolution of traditional music just changes kind of incrementally as generations go by, or if there's some young crazy kid who figures out how to string something up and like put a rhythm to the local town prayer songs that suddenly turns into something else. Or if that happened in the 1700s, or that happened in the year 700, I wonder if that's a thing that's like, if music has constantly been mashed together in ways that like Jamie is doing and proposing to do, and Cheese is doing, and Phish I think also does a really good job.
Saying it, I'm thinking about like Ravel as a bridge, and I'm thinking somebody like John Cage as a bridge that smashes itself and like becomes a dam even. So I would think that your hypothesis is certainly correct, but where it's located is, anybody's game.
We had said like on a previous Ridiculous podcast that like we were saying about how the piano like adds, it like kind of makes Phish for me a little bit, it's kind of the signature. It's not the standout character or personality musically in the mix, but it's what separates it from a Radiohead, or separates it from everything else. Basically, I feel like it's what kind of connects it to that wood and brass that I feel so proud to have a little bit of ownership of that in our favorite band. And it's funny that Jamie mentioned like Rift as the reference that he was referring to, because I was listening to Riff the other day, and I was telling my kid about it, and I was like, listen to the changes, listen to this melody, listen to the sections. It goes, doesn't it sound like Stravinsky? Listen to this, it's crazy, and it was fun to like think of Rift having its roots in Ravel and Gershwin and these kinds of things. It's like, I don't know if every band gets to have that, like consciously, like very consciously. I'm sure lots of them have Bach in their, the Beatles are filled with Bach in their, without even really knowing that it is, or sometimes consciously they admit it. Paul said like, oh, we just turned this thing around. Although I saw Tony Iommi say that like dun, I forget which melody it is, but it's like dun 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 dun, and or something like this. And if you turn it around, I think that's Iron Butterfly, but it was some famous like Sabbath melody that he just flip flopped some like dun 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 dun. He just turned it around and like it became this like riff that we all know, like back and forth. Dun 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 dun. I don't know what was it. What would it have been anyway?
And well, actually, I'm working on an app, right? Mm-hmm. And it's called Satan's Song. And
you're working on an app called Satan's Song. It's wait, hold on. Say more.
You can upload any music into it and it will play your track backwards.
That's awesome.
Okay. I've had this idea for a long time.
That's awesome.
And I'm working with this like,
I love that.
At school who's like a computer genius, and because of AI you can just tell AI what to make, and
oh my god,
don't have to code it all. But we're like working on this app together. What I want it to do is access your music on your phone.
Sure.
App for 99 cents, and it's an easy interface. Right now you have to upload the music into it. I don't know how to do that yet. We're gonna work it out, but thank God for this kid. He's like making my dreams come true. So I can send you the website for my little app idea, and you can turn any song around and figure out if it's Ravel or Stravinsky. You could do this with all your Black Sabbath. I just thought it'd be such a like awesome thing. I love all the backmasking that the Beatles did and Sir George Martin, put into that enormous orchestration, but also at the Haunted House Halloween and Phish and Trey will do this. He has some kind of pedal that sends the melodies backwards. I love it. But like the oh shabim to the rock, right? Like are you too near the shore? Whoa shabim. And it's just like, oh, so good.
Under the lemon tree, or I think that was one of them. That was
Yep, Dead Man. That was something.
Right, there's another one.
Oh, music and playing things backwards. Once upon a time, you would just roll your vinyl backwards and you could hear that.
Right.
And did you know, I'm sure you did, vinyl community, that Phish is releasing a new record. It's not a new record, but it's a pressing of Undermined. And there is a track on it called Tiny.
Yeah.
Track of the fourth side of the two records. I don't know this song, Tiny.
Yeah.
It came out as like an MP3 download. No idea. But I can't wait for you to get this record, Brian, and tell me all about it.
I already ordered it. It's already on its way.
The pre-order right now.
I'm so excited. I'm really excited. It's the final
final
record in the discography that hasn't been pressed to wax.
I don't know Maggie's Revenge either. I can't.
Yeah, it looks really. I'm curious. I'm very curious. Undermine's a pretty good record, actually. I think I that one I really came around on. I think that one was like, meh. But now I adore it. It's great.
Anyway, well, listen, Brian, my throat is hurting, and I probably
Let's wrap it up. Okay, well, this was fun. We don't have any clout, Ann. We're not. We've been put in our place. We're back down on the.
This is why we're adjacent. I mean, they love us, but do they show up?
We've been relegated to the kids' table again. Here we are. We didn't get backstage passes.
No,
we have to.
And we were all like hanging out by the theater, like, I guess out the front door. No smoking pot backstage this time.
Oh well.
Okay.
A lot of comments from Matt here, and bless you, Andrea. Go back and read some of his comments, please. There's a lot here. I'm good, but I'll let you go.
Right, so
but he likes your app, and I think he's dogs on the dogs. What are they called? Dogs in a Pile tickets are on sale. So if you want to go see those, tickets are on sale today. Okay. Well, Gayute, it was a valiant attempt. It was still nice to hang out, and we'll get our revenge here eventually. Have a good rest of your morning. I think I'm going to go back to sleep.
It's not the morning; it's the evening. I'm going to keep.
Yeah. Have a rest of your nice Saturday afternoon and evening.
Thanks.
All right. Lots of love. Bye, guys. Bye, Ann. Take care. See ya.
Bye, friends.
Bye.